श्री गणेशाय नमः। श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांशहस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। अन्तर्यश्च बहिर्विधूततिमिरं ज्योतिर्मयं शाश्वतं स्थानं प्राप्य विराजते विनमताम् अज्ञानमुन्मूलयन्। पश्यन् विश्वमपीदमुल्लसति यो विश्वस्य पारे परः तस्मै श्रीरमणाय लोकगुरवे शोकस्य हन्त्रे नमः। सत्प्रत्ययाः किन्नु विहाय सन्तं हृद्येष चिन्तारहितो हृदाख्यः कथं स्मरामस्तममेयमेकं तस्य स्मृतिस्तत्र दृढैव निष्ठा। मृत्युञ्जयं मृत्युभयाश्रितानाम् अहं मतिर्मृत्युमुपैति पूर्वम् अथ स्वभावादमृतेषु तेषु कथं पुनर्मृत्युधियोऽवकाशः। We are seeing a text called as Saddarshanam, a text composed by Ramana Maharshi ji. In this text, Ramana Maharshi ji is giving us the vision of truth. Ramana Maharshi ji is explaining that ahankara, mana, buddhi, etc. are false superimposition on true self, and therefore one must seek the vision of Ishvara, Paramatma, the Self. Then what are the means for which he said a Viveka should be done? Viveka, one must separate out that Chaitanya Tattva from everything else. One should inquire into the nature of that truth, which is beyond time, space, etc. We had seen all those inquiries, different modes of inquiry, and the difference between an ignorant person and a jnani, a sage, enlightened person, an ajnani and ajnani. Even though at the level of body, when they are aware of this body and their surroundings, their actions may seem same, but both of them have different vision about themselves and the world. Jnani knows that this body is mithya, superimposed, false, relatively real, and therefore he will not attach himself with this body, and consequently, in turn, he will not get affected by happiness and sorrows of this world. Whereas Ajnani, he gets bound because he identifies with his body. Both of them, Ajnani and Ajnani, they will have world. The world exists for both. Yet, a Ajnani will see this world as real, and Ajnani, the one who has gained Brahma Sakshatkara, the direct perception, the direct knowledge of the truth, his own self, will see itself manifesting, appearing in the form of this entire world. And therefore, one must put forth effort for gaining and knowing that truth. Then a question was raised. Let us chant verse 21 and 22. विधेः प्रयत्नस्य च कोऽपि वादः तयोर्द्वयोर्मूलमजानतां स्यात्। विधेः प्रयत्नस्य च कोऽपि वादः तयोर्द्वयोर्मूलमजानतां स्यात्। विधेः प्रयत्नस्य च मूलवस्तु सञ्जानतां नैव विधिर्न यत्नः। यदीक्षितुर्वीक्षणमीक्षितारम् अवीक्ष्य तन्मानसिके क्षणं स्यात्। न द्रष्टुरन्यः परमोहितस्य वीक्षा स्वमूले प्रविलीय निष्ठा। आत्मानमीक्षेत् परमं प्रपश्येत् इत्यागमोक्ते सुलभो न भावः। नात्मैव दृश्यो यदि का कथेशे स्वयं तदन्नी भवनं तदीक्षा. Raman Maharshi is explaining that if you are confused, if you are not able to understand whether it is vidhi, prarabdha, or purushartha, self-effort, prayatna, whether it is self-effort, purushartha, or fate, prarabdha, don't worry about either of them, because either of them are dependent on the self, you, I, jiva, self as jiva. And when you try to investigate into its root, which is jiva, you will find that there is neither prarabdha nor purushartha. There is just pure awareness principle, the self, that does not have either prarabdha or purushartha. Now, then many claim that they have had vision of Ishvara, they have seen Ishvara, which we discussed. Yes, the Ishvara Darshana is very much important. It is important for the purity of mind. But that is not the final goal. If the oneness is not understood, that vision is just a mental projection. It has not achieved its purpose. Therefore, what is the right vision of Ishvara? Seeing that Supreme, seeing that Paramatma in one's own heart as one's own self. The idea of oneness, the knowledge of oneness is the right vision. The vision is seeing him in one's own heart and not outside somewhere in a parichinna with upadhis, or identifying or making him one with upadhis. Further, the question was raised, how can one then have the vision of self and the vision of Lord as self, vision of Parameshwara as self? In the 23rd verse, let us chant the 23rd verse again. आत्मानमीक्षेत् परमं प्रपश्येत् इत्यागमोक्ते सुलभो न भावः नात्मैव दृश्यो यदि का कथेशे स्वयं तदन्नी भवनं तदीक्षा. आत्मानमीक्षेत् परमं प्रपश्येत्. The one should see the self. Paramam prapashyet. One should see Brahman. One should see Paramatma, Ishvara. Even though those statements are there in Vedas, it is not easy. If Atma itself has not been seen, Natmaiva drushyo. If I am not able to see the self, my own true nature is not being grasped. If I am unable to know my own true nature, then what to talk of Ishvara? Then how can I gain the vision of Ishvara? For which the answer is given. The vision of him is oneself becoming food unto him. This is where we were discussing. What is it? Becoming food unto him. Swayam tadanni bhavanam tadiksha. Tadiksha is tad anni bhavanam. Understand one thing, the problem which has been raised is very much common, which we disregard, which we are not able to know, or which we fail to grasp. The thing is, we know ourselves, but we don't know our own true nature, own true self. Is it not? Simple. If I ask you who you are, all the possible answers relate to all the conditionings to which you have identified with. Either you will tell me the name, your own name, or your designation, or what you do, or what you can do, or whether you are sick or not, etc. So, the koshas, the sheets with which you have identified, all those will express in that description. For example, if I ask someone and he says, I am son of so and so, he has identified with this body. Let me tell you a story, then you will understand where this topic is going or what the root problem is. This topic comes in Ramayana. In Ramayana, when Prabhu Shri Ramji killed Vali for all the crimes that he had committed and as a protection to Sugriva, etc. The backstory is not relevant here. After Vali was slain, Vali's wife, Tara, she asked Prabhu Ramachandra, why did you kill my husband? Why did you kill my husband? Was there any feud? Was there any quarrel? Was there anything, any enmity between you and Vali? Prabhu Shri Ramji said no. There was no enmity between me and Vali. Then why did you kill him? The question raised there is quite logical. If there was no enmity between you two, there was no need for you to kill him. General answers can be given about helping Sugriva, etc. But helping Sugriva does not mean killing Vali. Many arguments can be done. And arguments do not hold water. They do not satisfy answers. They do not satisfy questions. They do not give satisfactory answers. Knowing this, Prabhu Shri Ramji said, what do you want me to do? Tell me. If this, whatever you say is true, tell me what you want me to do. Tara said, give my husband back. I want my husband back, simple. Prabhu Shri Ramji said, if you want your husband back, he is right now here only. He is lying down on the ground. Because Vali is the name given to that particular form. Vali is the name that has been given to that particular form. And he is lying down right now here. Take him. The husband is next to you. No, no, no. My husband has passed away. If you say the one who has passed away, the one who has left this mortal coil, the one who has left this body is your husband, then he was never your husband to begin with. Was he your husband when he took this body? No. The one who took up this body as a jiva, as an individual self, as a jiva, when he took up this body, after taking this body and after furthermore years, he became your husband. In reality, as a jiva, he is neither your husband nor anything else. He is not related to you at all. The one who has passed away, he is not your husband, and the one whom you are calling husband is next to you. This is what is identification is. It is subtle, it expresses in many different forms. We are not able to identify those identifications, and because we fail to identify our own true self and identify with those identifications, we are bound. Anyways, the idea is because we get attached to Panchakosha, 5 sheets, we think those Panchakosha, those 5 sheets is me, and we act upon it, we get bound. If that is our idea of individual self as I, with this gross body, subtle body, causal body, etc., and if I don't know my own true self, my own true nature, which is Satchit Ananda Swarupa, Paramananda Swarupa, then what to talk of knowing Brahman and oneness between Brahman and self, Atma, Jiva, Ishvara, etc. It is not possible. Then, what method should be applied? What should I do to gain that vision? So, the method that has been given is Swayam Tadanni Bhavanam. During worship, during puja, food is offered to Bhagwan. That food has been offered, or food is offered with all devotion or with all emotions. This has been prepared by you. If you see, there are many indicators, or in general, you can just give food to Bhagwan. But as the devotion deepens, there are many multiple ways in which people offer food. Now, because there is so much devotion that this has been prepared for Bhagwan and Bhagwan alone, he should be fed first. It is his right to have this food first, and I cannot eat before him. With this devotion, when people offer food, multiple rules will be followed. They will practice themselves so much that they don't have to test how the food has been prepared. They exactly know how much salt, how much spices have been added and should be added so that the food is perfectly cooked. They pay attention to that, they give time for that. After that, the food that has been prepared is taken out, served in plate. That plate is covered so that nobody sees it, because this food should be seen first. Other than the one who has prepared, the food should be prepared by the person for whom it has been prepared. It is like offering a gift, a surprise gift. We pack it so that nobody else knows, neither the person who is being given the surprise, the gift, knows. So it is a surprise for him, it is a present to him. So when this food is being presented to Bhagwan, even the covering on that food plate is opened, and the Naivedya, when it is offered, what people do is they will cover their nose. Why? because even the first smell of that food should be taken by Bhagwan. This is the devotion. This is the idea of servitude, being Bhagwan's, being his servant. In this way, when the food is offered and when it is not immediately picked up from in front of him, yes, when you offer Naivedya, when you offer food to Bhagwan, keep it there for some time. Allow him to eat. Furthermore, if possible, imagine that he has appeared there and he is having that food. Don't just, after having served food, don't just go somewhere else and start doing some work. Or otherwise, ask someone to do this. See, these are the multiple facets of devotional worship, expressing your love to Bhagwan, modes of worship. It is not just manual activity. Otherwise, it will be labor. It will not be devotion. It will not even be karma. It will be just manual labor. There is very beautiful statement by Swami Chinmayananji. Work without worship is labor. Work without worship is labor. If there is no idea of worship, if there is no idea of puja, devotion, then it is just labor. You just did something because you are getting something in return. That's it. It is like a service. It is like working for someone, under someone. It is like a job. You are doing that job not because you are loving it. Of course, sometimes you do love jobs, the job that you are doing. But you are doing it because you are being paid. You are getting money in return. Like that will that activity be. There should be the idea of worship in that activity. Now, when the food has been offered unto him in such a way as a gift unto him, to him, when he eats that food, whatever that is left becomes prasada, his gift to us. In the same way, offering yourself to Bhagwan is Swayam Tadanni Bhavanam. When food is eaten, it becomes one with the one who has eaten that food. So, when we offer ourselves as food to Bhagwan, what is meant is, it is not sacrificing yourself. It is like not killing yourself and offering, preparing, being preparing yourself or cooking yourself as food and offering yourself. Don't go in that wrong direction. It is not at all what is meant here. Offering yourself as in who you are, offering all that to Bhagwan. Ask yourself, who are you? Whatever that comes to mind, offer that to Bhagwan. When you offer that to Bhagwan, Ishvara, Paramatma, by those means you will become one with that Bhagwan. First of all, whatever that comes to my mind or should come to our mind is our ego. This I, individual I, which identifies with everything else. Offer that. If it is difficult to offer that ego, ahankara, offer everything that it identifies with. Tell him that it is not yours, it is Bhagwan's, it is Ishvara's. Whether it can be gross body, or subtle body as in Jnanendriya, not Antahkarana. Antahkarana will be again Ahankara. All Vishayas, the objects of those organs of knowledge, Jnanendriya. Whatever that you are doing and whatever that you are experiencing, offer that to Bhagwan. Then what will happen is, when such food is served, when I offer myself to Bhagwan in this way, Ishvara, he will take up my ego, he will eat away my identifications, and slowly I'll become one with him. The thing is, whatever that is to offer and whatever that is to experience, whatever there is to do, should always be attached to Bhagavan, Ishvara. That is the best way or easiest way to become one with Him. Whatever the activities that we do them so that people around us will appreciate and validate. If that validation is not gained, we feel bad, we suffer. Why? Because our ego has not been satisfied. Therefore, all these identifications and ego must be given up. And who can take that? Only Ishvara. Therefore, offering that to Ishvara is Swayam Tadanni Bhavanam. And that alone is the vision of Ishvara, seeing Ishvara. Not being an enjoyer or doer, but being servant, being bhakta, devotee of Ishvara Paramatma. With this, Raman Maharshi Ji is giving another technique of meditation. Mm. धिये प्रकाशं परमोऽवतीर्य स्वयं धियोऽन्तः प्रविभाति गुप्तः धियं परावर्त्य धियोऽन्तरेऽत्र संयोजनान्नेश्वरदृष्टिरन्या. परमः धिये प्रकाशं वितीर्य. Vitirya, it is not avatirya, it is vitirya. Having given, we say vitarana. वितरण वितरित किया जाए और वितरित वितरण, that is giving. Paramam, the supreme. Paramaha, supreme, almighty. Dhiye, to intellect. Prakasham vitirya, having given the light. Swayam, himself. Dhiyaha antaha, inside the intellect. Dhiyaha antaha, guptaha pravibhati, shines hidden. Dhyam paravartya, having turned the intellect inwards. Having turned the intellect inwards. Atra, here. Dhyaha antare, inside intellect. Within intellect. Sanyojanat. Sanyojana, uniting. Is yojana, yuj, to become one by uniting. Ishvara drishtiranya. Ishvara drishtihi, vision of Ishvara, na anya, no otherwise, not any otherwise. The general meaning is, understand this, when we are doing this Anvaya, the Anvaya will be slightly confusing and difficult because the usual sequence of words in Sanskrit will be different than the sentence structure in English. Anyways, the general meaning of this verse is the Supreme, the Paramatma, the Brahman, having given out, having distributed the light Prakasha to intellect, Prakasham Paramaha Avatirya, Paramaha Dhiye Prakasham Avatirya. What did that Supreme Self do? It distributed light to intellect. Swayam, he himself, Swayam, Dhiyaha Antaha Guptaha Pravibhati, hiding within that intellect, he shines forth. The self, he himself is shining in that intellect and he is shining forth. Then what should we do? Dhyam Paravartya, having turned our intellect inwards, inside that intellect, within this intellect, the vision of the Lord takes place by uniting with it and by no other means. Simply put, turn your intellect, turn your vision inwards to know the truth, to see that Brahman, Ishvara, in its full glory, in its true form. Simple general meaning. What has been told here, what has been explained here is like this. What? Uh, okay. There is one mantra in Kathopanishad. परांच खानी व्यतृणत् स्वयं भूः तस्मात् परां पश्यति नान्तरात्मन् कश्चित् धीरः प्रत्यगात्मानमैक्षत आवृत्तचक्षुः अमृतत्वमिच्छन्. परांच खानी व्यतृणत् स्वयं भूः. When Swayambhuhu, when Brahmaji, when he created this entire creation, what he did was he created all organs of knowledge extroverted, mind, etc. He made them extrovert, and by doing so, he punished them, destroyed them. He created a cause for their demise. In reality, it was not his own idea or own desire. That's that's how he had to create, because what is being sought by our antahkarana, mind, intellect, and organs of knowledge is objects of happiness, etc., which are outside. So it was needed for antahkarana and jnanendriya, etc., to be extroverted. But what he also did was he made them capable of being introvert. If somebody is always looking towards objects outside, identifying with those objects and not looking inwards, inside, then that person will always be bound. He will not get freed, he will not get liberated. The same has been explained here. Understand what all is happening here. Okay, we do say the objects are outside, the mind is inside, the mind is eliminating objects, etc. But understand one thing. All that you experience, all that you know, all that you are seeing is within your mind, within your antahkarana. So you see, let us say, let us take example. You see this pen. Now when you are seeing this pen, a thought conforming to this object has been created in your mind. Now that thought has been illumined by Chaitanya, which is present in form of Chidabhasa, reflection of Chaitanya, reflection of pure consciousness principle as Chidabhasa there. So, to that intellect which is inert, which is incapable of illumining, has taken capacity to illumine from Chaitanya, from Brahman. Therefore, Brahman has distributed, has given the capacity to illumine to that intellect. Now, what this intellect, what this buddhi does is, it starts shining, it starts illumining objects outside. And while she is doing so, the self, who is self-effulgent, hides inside this intellect, hides within this intellect itself. Is it actually hiding? Not really, no. It is not hiding inside intellect. It is always there. We fail to appreciate, we fail to see, we fail to understand, see him. Let me tell you a couple of stories so that we will understand what has been, what is going to be explained. This is well-known story from children's tales, uh, Hitopadesh or Panchatantra. It can be there, it cannot be there, but anyways. The story goes like there was a person who was quite rich. He decided to go on a tour, and knowing that this person is going on a tour, he will be carrying a lot of money. A person who was thief decided to go with along with him. He said, I will also join you, we will both go together. So this person who was a thief by nature and this first person who decided to go on tour, they both were traveling. Throughout those travels, every night the thief would try to steal the money from that other person, always look through his bag, always look through his belongings, through other person's belongings, but he never found money. In the end, when he came back, when they both came home, the thief confessed that I am a thief. I came with you only so that I can steal all your money, but I was not able to find the money. Where did you use to hide the money? The other person said, I knew that you are a thief. So every night before going to sleep, whenever you used to go for some reason to wash your face or something, what I used to do is I used to put all my money in your bag, because you wanted to pretend that you are going to sleep, so you used to go to sleep early. When you used to do that, before letting you know, I used to hide my money in your bag, and you never searched for my money in your bag. That's what is happening here. The intellect is looking for that light everywhere outside, whereas it is inside. What should be done? Turn that intellect inwards. Dhiyaha paravartya. Turn that intellect inwards and see that Paramatma, that Chaitanya. There is very beautiful composition. It is called as Ekashloki. single verse by Acharya Adi Shankaracharya ji. किं ज्योतिस्तो भानुमानः निमे रात्रौ प्रदीपादिकं स्यादेवं रविदीपदर्शनविभौ विधौ किं ज्योतिराख्याहि मे चक्षुस्तस्य निमीलनादिसमये किं धीर्धियो दर्शने किं तत्राहमतो भवान् परमकं ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो परमहं ज्योतिस्तदस्मि प्रभो. The story goes like this. A person approached Bhagavan Bhashyakara Adi Shankaracharya ji and he said, Acharya, I don't have much time left. I went on studying different shastras, but now please guide me on the path of Vedanta. Please teach me what the truth is. I want to know. If I know the truth before I leave this body, it will be better, or I will have to continue again in my next life. Please guide me. So Acharya ji smiled and he asked, Kim Jyotihi Tava? With in the light of which, or in which light do you see? The person said, Ahani Bhanuman. In the during day, I see with the see in the light of sun. I see because of that sun. Okay. Ratrau, at night, Pradipadikam, I see in the light of lamp or moon, etc. Then he said, okay, you see objects in the light of sun or lamp or moon. Kim Jyotistav Bhanuman Ahanime Ratrau Pradipadikam Syadevam. Let them be. Ravideepa Darshana Vidhau Kim Jyotihi Akhyahi. But are you not seeing the sun, the lamp? Yes. How are you seeing them? With my own eyes, with my intellect? Okay. Chakshustasya Nimilanadi Samaye. Kim, when you close your eyes, when there is darkness, what do you see? The intellect. Dhiyaha Darshane Kim. In what light are you seeing that your intellect? Aham, this I. And who is this I? That I, which is not ahankara, not intellect, that I, that jyoti, that self-effulgent, all light and omniscient, ever-effulgent principle, I am. In other words, rather than making intellect identify with objects outside, making intellect see objects outside, we have to turn it inside and look for our own true nature, Swarupa. The self is, our own true self is of the nature of pure consciousness principle. Directly, it cannot be indicated. It always gets known through something. What do you mean? Simple. Intellect acts as an indicator. Whenever you do this exercise. Whenever a thought is created in mind, try to analyze what all factors are there. You will see that there is an object part and then there is illumining part. A very subtle distinction, but it is there. If you identify with the object part, your intellect has become extroverted. But if you identify with illumining part, your intellect has become introverted. Simple exercise. While you are walking down the road and you smell freshly fried pakoda, bhaji or batata vada, potato vada, sambar, etc. Something. And because of that smell, you feel that happiness, joy, how beautiful it is. Then you go into your past experiences. What has happened is when that thought, when that smell, thought was created in your mind, you identified with that experience and the object part of that smell of so and so, such and such smell, etc. But at that particular moment itself, you ask yourself, who is smelling this? You internally ask yourself, who is this? Who is getting swayed? Who is following that trail of thoughts towards Vishaya? You switch your intellect from going outwards to inwards. And with all experiences, if you are able to do that, the better it is. This is turning intellect inwards. And when in this way the intellect is turned inwards, one will know the truth. One will unite, one will experience one's own true self. There would be an instant realization of truth. Having explained this, Raman Maharshi ji in next three verses is giving the detailed description of Ahankara, the I notion, which is the root of all problems. Let us, because this is a continuous topic, let us start with this topic in next class, next time. ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ